You're hitting the road this month on the Godlike Australian tour with Brand of Sacrifice, Great American Ghost, and Lune, which is going to be great, man. You always have really good lineups for these Aussie runs. You bring bands that we don't usually get to see, and
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about it a little bit recently. I don't know what made me think about it, but I just try to bring cool bands that I think that the fans in Australia would want to see, and make cool lineups. But also, like, I guess, make cool lineups that I want to see as well. Like
mm,
Brand of Sacrifice, we took out on tour in the States 2.5 years ago,
yeah,
uh, which is really, really sick. And then Great American Ghost is one of my favorite bands ever. So kind of said that I would do it, so I have to do it. And we, I think in the past we have not brought Australian bands. I remember seeing like a lot of kerfuffle about this recently with a lot of promoters and people saying that they should make sure that they have an Australian band on every tour. So I thought, well, we're not really big time, but we should do that too, probably. So
yeah,
trying it out.
because you've done a lot with Loon in the past, right? Those boys.
Yeah, we did like a regional tour with them, I want to say like a year or two ago. And I was like, damn, this band's like sick. Like super, super groovy. I don't want to call them like a gent band, like and pigeonhole them like that, but like in terms of like that, having that groovy element, but also writing like really sick songs and having it be super heavy. I found that pretty nice, and they're unbelievably tight.
Yeah, yeah, they're a sick band. How'd you find them? Was it through the tour or was it?
Yeah, well, I've known the guys in the band for years. They used to play in various other bands,
Mm.
and I was just like, oh, these guys always super legends to play with. And then I think Chris, the guitar player, hit me up. He's like, hey, we're doing a new thing, and he sent me some stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is tight.
Sick. Yeah, they're great, man. What a fucking sick lineup. Like I've seen it. Like a lot of people are keen, like for this run is solid, dude. Real solid.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it goes all right. Like the high cost of living is pretty skitsy at the moment for a lot of people. So
Mm. Yeah, it's a bit hectic, especially
yeah,
with all these tours and stuff getting announced that they just need to
so
come.
many. There's so many tours.
Like, is it
I
like,
don't understand how there's so many tours, but there's so many.
oh man, another like two for January just dropped.
Yeah, I
It's
know. I
like,
saw that yesterday.
come.
And there's a festival, and then there's another festival that's announced. It's I don't know. I wonder what we'll see happen in the next 6 to 18 months. If we'll see this sort of self-cannibalization of the Australian music scene, like we saw about 10 years ago, with too much touring and not quite the appetite or the fan base for it.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Like you guys, I think will be sweet because you've got that solid fan base. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of I think there's a lot of small bands that are struggling just to do local
Oh
shows,
yeah,
man, because they're like,
yeah.
oh, let's book it on this day. What was it the other night? There was a band playing the other night at a local venue in Brisbane. Down the road was Steel Panther, and it was just it just ate it. It was just no, not
Yeah.
even. It was pointless.
Oh,
Can't do that, man.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to plan
Oh,
ahead.
well.
You got to plan ahead. But
Yeah. We're a country of under 30 million people, so the fact that we have more tours than the state of California, which
that's
has a
great.
population about the same size as our whole country,
It's crazy. It is
is a
crazy.
little bit nuts. Yeah.
But you guys seem to plan it where you come out and you make it special. You know what I mean? Like you make the
We
run special.
we we try to. Obviously we would have toured a lot earlier in the album cycle had we had things not go so insane in our band's I don't know what you'd call it, zeitgeist.
Mm.
Um, but we knew that we wanted to tour Australia. Knew we needed to bring the record home in a way. So here we are. We've announced some other cool news in the recent weeks as well for next year. So it's all kind of still happening.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And you're hitting Froth and Fury. Fuck, I wish I was going to that, dude.
I'm pretty excited about that actually.
Man, what a fucking lineup, dude. Like, Fear Factory.
Test Eagles are like coming out of retirement.
How's this? Because Maddie lives on the Gold Coast here, and we had a mutual. My old bandmate Dan from Shifting had his 40th,
Yeah.
and two of the Test Eagles dudes did a low key set with us. We played with them. Yeah, so it was like wasn't Test Eagle, but it was you know what I mean? So they were
Yeah.
just and it was fucking sick, dude. I felt like I was, 15, 16 again watching them. It was so good.
Very nice. Well, excited for that. Excited for Fear Factory, North Lane, Hands Like Houses. I haven't really looked at much else of the lineup that doesn't have to do with ours. Speaking of lots of tours happening, I think Grinspoon have a festival in Adelaide on the same day. So maybe I'll drive around there later and go and check that out as well.
Have you heard of Dharma that's playing Froth and
No,
Fury?
Jeff
Man,
Jeffrey Dahmer.
oh no, not Jeff, not Jeffo. Um,
No,
Dharma. They're a Buddhist extreme metal band that are playing Froth and Fury.
right.
So the confusion, but fuck, they are so good, dude. They are
Are
so
they Aussie
heavy.
or
No, they're
from
from
Nepal?
yeah.
Crazy. I have heard about Nepal's metal scene being absolutely mental. So,
The singer is from Canada, but he's lived over there
yeah,
for like 20 years and he converted to.
yes,
But man,
in
they
a
are
monastery somewhere up there.
it's intense, man. Like this band is
Yeah,
intense. Check him out because you're going to be
yeah,
playing with them down there. I'd just be keen to see what they do live.
yeah, sick.
Yeah,
All right, I'll give it
yeah,
a go.
they'll be up your alley for sure. But
Thanks for the hot tip.
yeah, no, that's my tip. But I mean, you do a lot of festivals, and you probably played all the main ones around the world. Which one do you think has the craziest reaction to thy art?
Dang, that's a tricky one. We
Mm.
have done a lot of festivals. This year alone, we've done the biggest ones that there are. Um, Download's always cool. Our friends have a festival in the UK called Bloodstock. That one's also pretty sick. Um, they just, I think it's a little more metal focused than Download, or
Mm.
maybe the fan base also is more into metal. So I remember enjoying that one in 2018. I think was the last time we played it. Maybe it was 2019. Varken obviously is a cool one. Grasspop in Belgium is sick. It's always sick. That's probably the festival we played the most. We might have hit that one about 4 or 5 times. Rock in Park, Rock im Rock am Ring, Rock im Park, yeah, Rock im Park and Rock am Ring are also really really sick. Um, we hit both of those back to back this year, and the crowd was psycho. And another one that was a surprise this year was Oslo Tons of Rock, I think it was called, or Tons of
Okay.
Metal or something, was actually psycho. Like we've played great shows in Norway going back 12 years or so, but in the beginning it was always like, oh, 300 people, 500 people. We had like a 10,000 capacity tent packed out, and I was like, where did all these Norwegians come from? It was mental. Like it was actually mental. And I got to see Tool for the very first time, so it was sick.
Oh, you've never seen Tool before?
No, and it was like one of my favorite bands growing up, so
Shit.
it was pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you done the boats yet? Have you done the boat cruise thing yet?
No, I think that's 70,000 tons of metal is one of them, and that
Yeah.
everyone's doing them lately. It's kind of crazy. I'm wondering if we should buy a cruise boat and like a small one because we're a small band, and just do one off of like Burley Heads or something. It's like, all right, everyone, you get a case of piss, and we'll be playing, and
The
we set sail at noon.
yeah, life jacket, thy art life
Yes,
jacket.
yes.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. The merchandising opportunities,
And the fuck.
bucket hats,
Yeah.
you know,
Big
do some
summer cruise.
fishing.
I think you could do one. I think in Sydney or something. They have one now that runs once a year where they've got like Jimmy
You're
Barnes and
right.
all those ones that do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, you can do it here in Australia, and it just goes for like 3 days or something.
Wow. I'm not a boat person. I've been
Oh,
fishing a little bit lately off non-boats, and I do get seasick, so I don't know how it'd go for us. We
oh no.
have played on boats before. There's a boat in Paris that we've played on, and there's a boat in Budapest that we've played on.
How'd you go? Is it?
I mean, they're fine. They're just like they're docked. They just sit up there, and I don't know why. Maybe those cities it was tough to make venues of that size, and someone's like, "Well, if we put it on a boat, I don't know. Europeans be crazy.
It
They're
is.
not going to let anything stop them from seeing a metal show."
Ah man, that's it. I think it's a good idea. I like
Yeah.
both. I think I like the novelty of it. I did it once. I did one of those little Brisbane cruise ones, you know,
Yes. Yes.
and staying on a road case and going like that for
Uh,
yeah,
actually,
no.
no. We did play one that was moving in London once
Yeah.
as part of the Metal Hammer Golden God Awards or Kerrang or something years ago. Um, that was mental. It was very strange
Good times.
while it
Bloody
was
good times.
moving.
More boats. Well, if you can handle it. But how's Tyler going with it with the touring and stuff?
He's going great. Um, I mean, I don't know how he's going right now. I mean, it's probably what 5 p.m.
Get him on the
Pacific.
phone.
No, he's been smashing it. The crazy thing is like how well his voice holds up.
Yeah.
It's one thing that, initially I was like, I wonder how he's gonna go. Like literally the first tour that we did, I think was more shows than he'd played in his whole life.
Wow.
Back to back to back to back to back. um, which was skitsy. And I was like, okay, well, first tour didn't blow his voice out. Um, and then the next tour, I was like, huh, voice just keeps going. I'm like, what the hell's up with that? It's pretty common for singers that they'll blow their voice out at least once a tour. Like generally at the start, towards the start, they'll come in really strong and either push too hard or like readjust to using their voice so frequently, and about a week in they'll start to tire, and then it'll repair itself and then it'll come good. But he's just like kind of a bundle of energy. And I guess like having him be so much closer in age to the rest of us, I think he's about 10 years younger than our previous singer. So like a lot more I guess it's not as taxing on his body.
Yeah,
Perhaps I'm
I've
just guessing.
I've seen videos and he's fucking real good, dude.
Yeah, he
Real.
just like runs around all over the place. I kind of want to be like, yo, man, chill. You don't have to go so crazy. This isn't cardio. Like,
You
so,
feel it, man. You know what it's like. You feel it. You know that
oh,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
if you got that
Yeah. It's important for me to remind myself, like at this point in Thy Art, have played about 1,000 shows. And so there's so much learning that happens when you do something so much. Learning good things, learning bad things, learning things that you do, things that you don't do. Um, and I reckon, hasn't played 100 shows yet. I reckon he'd be getting close. We've done 3 tours, so about 80 shows to 90 shows. And you think like how much shows we've done as a unit to kind of
yeah,
become
yeah, yeah.
cohesive. Give him some more time. It's like the guy's going to be an absolute savage.
Yeah. And that voice for the voice to be able to already be tuned into that because he's probably using in ears, right?
Yes.
Yes. I find that's definitely a voice saver when I switched out like
Yeah, and that would have been a learning curve for him as well. Having gone from, say, local bands touring with just wedges and whatever, and then day one we're like, here, stick these things in your ear and sing.
it's weird. It's
So,
fucking weird
yeah,
when you to begin with. Like trying to sing with them, like it took me a little time to adjust. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
but get there. Yeah, it's awesome. But of course, you got this massive tour coming up next year with Parkway and Amity in Europe. which is
Yes.
fucking crazy, dude. Like, it's a year away, and people are already like pumped for it.
Yeah, it's skitsy. And someone was telling me the other day that one of the shows has sold so many tickets. And I was like, what? All right. Psycho.
Yeah, I mean it's massive.
So, yeah, super excited about it. This one's been in the pipeline for, I'm going to say, at this point, over a year. Been
Wow.
keeping this one under wraps. So, yeah, pretty exciting to have something planned so far out and then have it go get announced and have it go crazy. Um, very, very lucky group of people we are to go and do that one with them for 20 years as well,
Mm.
which is insane because I was there at the start of the 20 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah, me too.
for me, like as a friend of the guys in the band, as a fan of the band, as a what would you call it? Like a sort of like a peer, I guess, a colleague, someone that makes their living in the touring industry. Like it's a big full circle moment for me, and I know for the rest of the guys in my band to like be a part of it.
It's crazy to see how, I used to work in a. Do you have a Music Mania on the Gold Coast?
Nah, I don't know anything about the Goldie.
Ah, you don't want it. It's fucking shit.
No,
No, I used to work in a music store where I started everything.
yeah,
Um, this is going back about 20 years ago, and we used to put on shows locally for bands coming through, like Parkway. We had Amity do it in store in the
yeah,
fucking little store with like the floors were it was crazy. And looking at
yeah.
where all you guys are now from
Mm.
then, it's really cool to see, man, especially with all the people that have sort of grown up with you and been on that journey, you
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah. I just can't. It's one of those things. You kind of get desensitized to it a little bit. I mean, at this point in my life, I must have played 150 shows with Parkway. I mean, just personally filling in for Parkway, I must have played about 50 to 100 shows.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of get accustomed to it. It's like, yeah, the boys, they just go crazy. Shows be massive. And then you have to be like, wait a minute, we kind of started in the same place around the same time. And you're literally playing like half stadiums. Like, it's kind of mental to think about. We had the great pleasure of playing some shows with them in Europe this summer, and the production was pretty mental. We saw them like headline Rockham Ring or something. I'm I remember like running back to the bus to go and get our alcoholic beverages. Uh, the crew like we've because we've toured with them so much, like we know their crew and everything, and so we're like planning a front of house party for this monumentous occasion for the band where they're going to headline this festival to like 100,000 people. We're like, come on, we all have to get to the bus. We got to get our beverages. Everyone's got to go for a piss. You're not going to be able to move. It's going to be heaving. And we went out there at like 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night in the dark and was just like, this is absolutely savage. Like, there's so many people. We had to like walk for like literally kilometers through a sea of people to watch Parkway.
Watch your mates play. Hey, that's a
You really should go to Europe and watch them play. I mean, so I wasn't here for it. I was in the States for their recent Australian tour, but what I was stoked for them for was that people at home maybe finally have a taste of what the band really means globally.
hmm,
Because I think so many people still in their mind are attached to Parkway at the Guild Bar, Parkway at the Lions Den, Parkway at the high school. They're like, oh yeah, they're great, they're massive, and
yep,
that's as massive in their memory as the band ever was. It's like, no, this is one of the juggernauts of metal in the history of the world.
yes,
Like, it's
crazy.
not just an Australian thing. It's not just a now thing. Like they've built it up from literally DIY punk shows 20 years ago to like something that's I'm sure it's bigger than even they thought it would ever
My wife was at their first show in Byron Bay.
be.
It was like at a church or something, like an all ages show with like
Yeah,
no one there. Like it was crazy. She tells
would
me
have
that
been an
story.
absolute insane.
Yeah, yeah. She said, She was there for it all, back in the day. And now she's like, oh yeah, look at those guys now. Crazy. But hey, are you guys working on some new tunes? Is there any
Um,
horizon there?
no, not really. I started thinking about it recently. Um, we got B-sides from Godlike and from Human Target and from Dear Desolation. I reckon we might have one. Or did we put out two B-sides for Dear Desolation? We did Death Perception. We might have another one for Dear Desolation. We've got one from Holy War as well.
Yeah, wow.
So we have a whole bunch of music that I've forgotten about. And I started thinking about it recently. I'm like, I wonder if like even Will has those songs because they're like fully recorded and everything. Um, just never wrote lyrics for them because like we decided on a sequence for the record and we had it. And then I started thinking about that and I was like, oh well, that's cool. We've got all this extra music, but also like, what are we gonna do for the next record? And so I think now it's in that kind of lull period when once we do this tour here, it'll kind of have purged the not the record from my system like entirely, but like that chapter's like been completed. Obviously, it's continuing. We've still got tours that are booked on the record, but at least the main like we've done a tour in Europe, we've done a tour in Australia, we've done a tour in America. Let's start thinking about where we want to go next musically, and see how we can do that. That being said, I did wrap up a one of those B sides like last weekend, so
Okay.
whenever that one comes out. I'm not sure.
So are you saving it for like album, or are you saying you're just going to drop?
No, not for an album. Like it's fully recorded. Just got to
Okay.
see when Will can mix it, and then we'll have like a little nugget for the fans.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's fucking
Yeah,
cool. Can't wait to hear it. But
could be out tomorrow. Could be out next year. I don't know. Like just whenever I get it, I'll figure out a plan. Then we'll put it out.
he's got a few things on that dude.
Yeah, he's been he's been so busy, man.
Got two
It's
albums
crazy.
in one day.
He's done more shows this year than I have. I'm like, what are you doing?
And then he goes back to the lab and cooks up more.
Yeah. He's in the beat laboratory, and then he's like, "Oh, I've got to go and do a show. I'll be back." I'm like, "All right, man."
Crazy.
Yeah, two records on the same day is mental.
It is. It
Plus
is
all the
mental.
shows that he's been doing, and so no, too crazy. I
He'll
like
sleep.
it nice and calm.
He'll sleep one day, you know,
Yes.
like us. You know. But hey man, thanks for hanging out again. It's been good to see you.
No worries. Nice seeing you as well.
Yeah. Um, cool.
Next time I'll see you will be when you're knocking at my front door with a six pack.
I
So
will. I'll bring a cardo for this.
yes.
Yeah. I'll just go there with a little bow, nice little pink bow for you. But
Nice.
man, hey, thanks again for hanging out. We're gonna have all the links down here and on the website. Marshy, enjoy your day.
I will, and you as well, my friend.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you soon.